There is a lot of news on the Indiana Fever front, like, Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham getting back on the court. So what will this mean and how will this affect the Indiana Fever? Plus, this means that Indiana Fever did have to waive Aari McDonald. And as an added bonus, I do want to go over the Thursday night trio of games because a lot happened there too. Okay, so first and foremost, Caitlin Clark will be back on the court, or you know what? I can't say that for all certainty. She has been medically cleared to be back on the court to face off against the New York Liberty. Sophie Cunningham also has been cleared to hit the court for Saturday, which is tomorrow, according to Coach Stephanie White. One person who Steph White does not anticipate being on the court is DeWanna Bonner. She is out for personal reasons, and I honestly can't say why. But well wishes to DeWanna Bonner. Hopefully she is getting through whatever she's going through. But Steph White did comment about Sophie Cunningham. She said that she's actually been looking really good in the workouts, so that's a good sign. She did say that Caitlin Clark has been looking better from day to day. I don't know if that means she's going to be on a minutes restriction, but according to the MRI, there is no swelling. There's nothing wrong with her injury, and Caitlin Clark feels super duper optimistic about it. And here's what she said.
There was imaging done to tell that my leg is okay. We're not guessing, we're not going off of feeling. So I can find confidence in that we know we weren't able to find anything or see anything, and that was kind of my all clear. I knew I was feeling really good, so that wasn't a surprise by any means, that it looked that way when we had the imaging done. But yeah, I felt really good. And then honestly, just sprinting, as change of direction and sprinting in the game of basketball, that's, the biggest part of it. So me feeling comfortable to be able to do those type of things and those type of movements. And after we saw the imaging, I was good to go.
So what can we expect now that Caitlin Clark is back? Well, for one, these are my hopes. The Indiana Fever have not been shooting threes, which is just kind of crazy for the Indiana Fever. This is something the team is known for, but something the team is known for specifically because Caitlin Clark is on the team. Sophie Cunningham, also a big perimeter shooter. And something that I've noticed in a lot of the Indiana Fever losses is that other teams are out shooting them beyond the arc. And then there was the thing that Kelsey Mitchell the team being defined by their paint touches, which was a little bit shocking for a lot of people to hear, myself included, because Kelsey Mitchell, she is a sniper. She is a sniper from deep. And the thing is Kelsey Mitchell has been taking threes. She has just not been drilling them. And a lot of that is because, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, but it's the gravity that Caitlin Clark demands on the court that opens up Kelsey Mitchell for these good looks. But that's not to say that the Indiana Fever are not going to be going into the paint because the Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark pick and roll is one of the best duo plays in the entire league. And Aaliyah Boston hasn't really been able to show her pick and roll chops, which Steph White did call out upon Caitlin Clark's injury. But now that Caitlin Clark is back, I expect to see more pick and rolls. I expect to see more shots beyond the arc. I am hoping that Lexi Hull does do more spotting up because she has been on fire with the three-pointers lately. And unfortunately, she was scoreless in the last game, did not really attempt many three-point shots. But we do know that Sophie Cunningham is very well-versed beyond the arc, and she can be taking a lot of three-pointers as well. So that's something that I have been noticing that the Indiana Fever have been getting outscored on, and I'm hoping to see that change. In addition to that, they need to change the pacing because the more I watch every team in the WNBA, the up-tempo, fast-playing teams are the most exciting to watch. And maybe they're not in first and second place, and that may be because the faster teams have younger players, including the Mercury, including the Valkyries, including the Mystics. But once those younger players start leveling up and getting to the level of competition that the older players, the players that have been in the league for 2-3 years are at, I'm telling you, these teams are going to be super dominant. This is the direction of the WNBA. It's heading towards a up-tempo, fast, modern-style basketball, just like the way the NBA headed. Now, the sad news is that, yes, the Indiana Fever did have to waive Aari McDonald. And you know what? I have to say, Caitlin Clark is back. That is a plus, and it is a bummer to lose Aari. She would be great on the Indiana Fever as a backup point guard. She would be great as a backup shooting guard. She does have the IQ, she does have the foresight to actually step in for Caitlin Clark when she does come off ball or when she does go out for a rest. But the unfortunate truth, according to WNBA, CBA rules, is that they did have to waive her. And I am just of the opinion that they aren't thinking of bringing her back. And the reason I'm saying this is because there are people reporting on this and reporting this that are close to the team. So my assumption is that they are talking to these general managers, to the front office, to Kelly, and this is what is being relayed to them. I can't say with all certainty that this is what exactly is going to happen, but from my experience in the field, that's what it looks like. Now, there are other teams that need point guards. The problem is the other teams that do need point guards don't have the cap space or the roster space necessarily, except for maybe the Golden State Valkyries, because the Golden State Valkyries have a lot of players going to Eurobasket, so they are filling a lot of hardship spots right now. But if I were Aari, I would be thinking, I don't know, I mean, the Valkyries is a great team to play for. Like, I would love to be playing for the Valkyries if I were Aari McDonald. But if you think about it, Julie Van Loo is one of the players that is going over to Eurobasket, and Julie Van Loo has been a spark plug for the Valkyries. She has great passing. There are games where Julie is a lot less impactful, and there are games where she is like completely impactful. So it would be hard to necessarily replace Julie with Aari. And if I were Aari, I might be looking for something a little more permanent. But with so few roster spots in the WNBA, you know, it's a very competitive playing field. And if Aari gets asked to come to the Valkyries, maybe she would want to fight it out for that spot, because Julie Van Loo's contract has been temporarily suspended. So they do have the cap space to bring her in. Now, the Dallas Wings are also down a guard with Ty Harris being out for the season. She comes in off the bench. But if I were the Dallas Wings, I might be looking at their front court more, because they are also losing Tiara McCowan, their center, to Eurobasket. And the other bigs that they have, Maisha Hines-Allen and Alyssa Smith, they're not exactly cutting it. So if I were the Dallas Wings, I would be thinking more in the front court than replacing Ty Harris. Now, obviously, the Chicago Sky are down a point guard with their veteran point guard, Courtney Sloot, sadly going out with an ACL injury for the rest of the season. But they don't qualify for a hardship because they have more than 10 healthy players available. So unless they cut someone on the roster, they can't sign Aari. But with what Aari did with the Indiana Fever, I think that a lot of teams will be evaluating their rosters and be considering cutting people, because Aari McDonald I think she just really proved herself in the few games that she played with the Indiana Fever. And I honestly hope she does. I hope somebody signs her, because she is way too good not to be signed, especially as a point guard, because it seems like there might be a lot of readily available point guards in the league, but someone with her IQ, someone with her passing ability, someone with her scoring ability, someone who is a threat the way that Aari McDonald is, like little 5'6" Aari McDonald, it's really hard to pass up, and it's not very common in the W right now. Oh, and let's give a quick shout out to Nike, which may come as a surprise to many of you. There was some backlash yesterday after Nike posted a tweet about Paige Beckers saying Rook got him shook, because Paige Beckers had a crazy night, dropping 35 points and stuffing the stat sheet against the Phoenix Mercury. And if you look in the comment section of this Nike tweet, it is crazy, because, I mean, the truth is like they couldn't even tweet out anything about Caitlin Clark's triple-double, which is like crazy for especially in the first game of the season. That is not something players get very often. So I think the Nike social admin took note and today posted alert the logos in response to Caitlin Clark being back on the court, where Indiana Fever said Caitlin Clark is ready to play tomorrow against New York. I mean, you know, I'm not really a fan of throwing shade to a lot of people, a lot of players, a lot of things, but Nike is one of the ones that I've just been completely like shook by how they're dealing with Caitlin Clark as an athlete. So I just want to say shout out to you, Nike. This is a step in the right direction. And just a quick recap from Thursday night's games, because you know what? I didn't think there were 3 Thursday night games, all at 10 o'clock. I was flipping back and forth between every single one and the NBA Finals game. And here are my quick takeaways. I do not know what's going on with the Aces. This situation has me genuinely perplexed. Did I think that they were going to be better after the Plum trade? No, I didn't. I thought it was a downgrade to get Jewel Lloyd for Kelsey Plum, but Wow, they have been sliding. They lost their second in a row to the Los Angeles Sparks, who I do not have highly ranked. Now, in the trade for Plum, they did get Jewell Loyd, who classically has been like a lights out shooter. She slid a little downhill last season with the Seattle Storm, but a lot of people thought that it might have been like a locker room chemistry issue because there was definitely some heat between Skylar, Nneka, Jewell, and the coaches. So the hope was that in trading Jewell over to Las Vegas, she would return to a version of her former self where she scored over 25 points a game in 2023. But man, that is just not the case. Even Becky Hammon was asked about Jewell Loyd's performance in the post-game interview after the Sparks game. And Becky Hammon said that Jewell Loyd herself went up to her about coming off the bench. So big roster rotation being considered in benching Jewell Loyd. Jewell Loyd, people. And let's just talk about the Seattle Lynx game. I'll just touch on this. We don't have to really go into it that much, but Seattle was like dominating over the Lynx. And Erica Wheeler just went off. She was the player of the game against the Minnesota Lynx, Erica Wheeler. It was crazy. And in the post-game interview, Erica got super emotional. She just was so like overcome with joy at the reaction of fans in Seattle, and she just felt so much love. I just have to show it here.
Make some noise for Erica, y'all.
It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about this team. It's about us just sticking together. Coaches believing in us, and this shit feel good.
And how much did this crowd have to do with it?
Oh man, you guys are amazing. What today is Wednesday? You guys got out work to come see us? Come on, man. That's heart. That's dedication. That's love. And that's what I've been feeling since I've been here. That's why I'm emotional because, man, y'all.
Congrats on the win, Erica.
So the Minnesota Lynx are undefeated no more. And not only that, but the Dallas Wings did play the Phoenix Mercury, and this was a Paige unleashed game. Paige has had problems with aggression and taking charge of the Dallas Wings, and I mean, in my opinion, she has to. She is the most efficient scorer, and I know there's a lot of debate about how Paige Beckers is doing in the W. She's not shining as much as she does in college, but I feel like Paige is one of those people who kind of gets acclimated to a situation, and then I can actually see her really going off. In the first half alone, she scored 22 points and had already stuffed the stat sheet. She made 7 out of her first 7 shots, and this was just before the half ended. I remember I made note of it. She had scored 18 out of 28 of Dallas's points. She ended up with a pretty impressive 35 points in the game, which is crazy. And that game was really fun to watch. And why was that game fun to watch? Because of Lexi Held and all of these rookies and all these players that the Mercury brought in and had the foresight to bring in when they built their team. And to be honest, I didn't know how this team was going to work out, but I am pleasantly surprised. They are a very fun team to watch. Yet another thing pointing to the modern basketballness of the WNBA and how it is just so much more fun to watch. That's the news for today. Tomorrow, we will be going live to watch the Fever face off against the Liberty with Caitlin Clark, with Sophie Cunningham. So be sure to tune in, and I'll see you then.